Hello, hello, hello. This is Kyle Shannon with the AI Learning Lab. I was just live before, and Xfinity decided to ruin my internet, so I just reset my router. So if you're new here, welcome. If you're not new here, welcome back. We'll wait for some other folks to join us. This is the AI Learning Lab. What's your Discord? The Discord is the AI Salon. If you go to up there, if you go to my profile, I've got a link tree there that's got a link to the AI Salon, and it's got a link to my company Storyvine and things like that. So if you go to the AI Salon, the link to the Discord is there. And by the way, if you were on the live before just a moment ago and watched me make the images of the sailor in Times Square, there's the image. This is the AI Learning Lab. I will get rolling again. If you have questions about AI, just pop them in the comments below, or want to tell me what celebrity I look like. Did Apple announce any AI? They announced, they were very clever about their AI stuff. They basically made it very clear they can run some fairly significant machine learning models on their local native silicon. They did not use the word AI. They did not use the word metaverse. They were very, very clever. They didn't make any big AI announcements, other than the one cool thing that they showed was there's some serious AI going with this. You take the goggle and you hold it toward your face. So you let the fancy cameras on the outside of the thing train on your face, and they build a map of your face, and then they have cameras inside the thing looking at your eyes. So when you go on a Zoom call, so you're wearing this thing and you've got a Zoom call going and you've got panels that are the other people talking, it will synthesize your face, and it's got two cameras pointing down. So it'll grab your mouth movements, your eye movements, and your hand gestures, and it will simulate all those in a Zoom call. So you can be in this fully immersive Zoom call. So there's a lot of that stuff coming. Anyway, welcome back. If you were gone, I reset my router. It's all super exciting. I should have internet that lasts a solid 15 minutes before shitting the bed. My name is Kyle Shannon. This is the AI Learning Lab. We talk about AI things here. We have fun. We joke, we laugh, we play. We try not to be assholes. So don't be a jerk, don't be a troll, because TikTok doesn't like it and I don't like it, because we're in a divisive enough world right now. Maybe this is a safe space where we can just hang out and talk about generative AI and how it's going to change the world for the better. It's going to be okay, Skippy. I promise. So that's me. I'm an entrepreneur. I'm the founder and CEO of a company called Storyvine. It's an 11-year-old company that does automated video production. And I started this channel because I saw some real parallels with what's going on with generative AI to a lot of the same things that were happening in the mid-90s when the World Wide Web came out, where all of a sudden this technology that had been around for a bunch of decades all of a sudden was made accessible to real people. And the same thing's happening here with AI, and it's way more profound, and it's happening way more quickly, way more quickly. I put these URLs up just more as like a public service announcement. I don't get anything from them. The top one is the official ChatGPT website. The next one down is Bing, which is Microsoft's search engine, but it now has a chat button, and that's ChatGPT 4 that you can use for free, and it's connected to the internet. And then Poe.com gives you access to GPT-4 and Claude and a bunch of other things. So that's why those are there. And then prompts.chat will teach you about prompting, and Futurepedia.io is a site with kind of all of the tools where you can go learn about all these AI tools. So if you have questions about AI, pop them in the, whatever you call it, comments. Feel free to share my live with other people if you think You know what I think Sally might like watching a fat old guy talk about something he doesn't really know anything about. Yeah, let me send this to Sally. So feel free to share this. And then pop any questions you have down below. So Apple's not putting out a competitor to ChatGPT. Not yet. Yeah, they didn't really have any announcements. Robert Scoble, who knows them pretty well, said he feels pretty confident it'll probably be next year. Here's the thing with Apple. They're a hardware company, so they don't need to compete. Like Google needs to compete. Google having their core search business threatened by ChatGPT, that's an existential threat to them. Apple can step into this arena whenever they want. And here's the thing about Apple. They've got privacy. They've got a data moat where, all of your data is within their moat. They know all this stuff. And they've got, the best UX in the world, right? They've got the best designers, software developers, and UX in the world. So they, in rolling out those glasses today, they made it abundantly clear that at a silicon level, they can absolutely kick ass with machine learning. And they didn't use generative AI, and they didn't mention ChatGPT. They didn't mention any of it, but they clearly laid a foundation that said, when we come, we're going to come hard and we're going to come right. So I still firmly believe, I think where Apple's going to play really strong is autonomous agents. So AI-powered agents that do shit for us, I think they're going to be really good at that. But it probably won't be for a year. But when it comes, it's going to be really solid. Is my feeling, is my supposition, my hypothesis. AI is great. I'm trying to get a small filmmaker. Maker to use it to write scripts. He's unaware. Amazing. Yeah, it's amazing. I've written 7 feature-length screenplays on a one-man show, and it is mind-bogglingly good. Here, I'll show you. So what I would do with your friend, and I think this kind of goes for anyone, is rather than convince them that they should, you should use ChatGPT, until they actually see what it does, like their mind, won't be blown. So here's a fun thing. So act as I'm using GPT-4 right now, expert at screenwriting, and the Save the Cat story framework. Story framework. Ask me a series. Ask me clarifying questions about my story, one at a time, and then give me an outline in Save the Cat format. Do not move on to the next question until I have answered the previous. Let's see what it does. Great. I'd be happy to help you using Blake Snyder's Save the Cat. Let's start with the beginning. Opening image. What's the very first image that the audience will see that sets the tone? A mango filled with tuna salad. Very intriguing. Early in the story, someone will make a statement that hints at what your story is really about. It should tie into the message or moral of the story. What's the theme of your story about? Non-organic mangoes are ruining the planet. You can see I'm a good screenwriter, right? So you can do that. You can do things like walk it through there and say, okay, how about this? Can you just give me a complete outline based on what I said so far? Bang. Sure, I can generate a save the cat beat sheet. Opening image. It starts with a striking image of a mango filled with tuna salad. It's an unusual and intriguing sight that grabs the viewer's attention. Early on, a character mentions that non-organic mangoes are ruining the planet. The statement could be made in passing. All right, the setup. We meet our protagonist in their ordinary world. Perhaps they're at a restaurant or a supermarket with a unique tuna stuffed mango. Anyway, it goes on. See, I'm entertaining myself anyway. All right, so I'm going to stop this here. I'm going to go, write me the opening scene to the movie. Certainly. Here we go. Fade in. So it's now like it understands screenplay formatting. It understands screenplay terms. It understands that we open a movie with a fade in. Exterior busy farmer's market day. The sun beats down on a bustling farmer's market. Stalls are laden with fruits, vegetables, blah, 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 blah. We pan across the scene, finally resting on a stall with a sign that reads exotic fruits. Close up, a mango. A perfect specimen. Its skin, radiant blend, blah, 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 blah. Behind the stall, we meet Jim, 60s, wiry, spry for his age, twinkling eyes, and a genuine smile. He handles the mango with reverence. It's not just a mango, folks. Come and see what's inside. Oh, my God. So wait. With a flourish, Jim takes out a small knife, deftly slicing the mango open to reveal. Cut to onlookers. Gasp. Close up, the mango. Inside the mango isn't bright yellow fruit as expected. Instead, it's filled with a delicious-looking tuna salad. Oh, my God. It's good. It's good. So, yeah, have your friend do that in front of your friend that is resisting the pain and pleasure that is GPT-4. And after he picks his jaw up off the floor, say, why don't you give it a shot, Buck? I don't know if his name's Buck, but I think it should be. How can I best make a PowerPoint presentation with AI? You can have GPT-4 do it. So just like I did that with the screenplay, or you can go to futurepedia.io. So the reason I have these URLs up there, the bottom one is a list of tools. There are probably at this point 30 tools that will write PowerPoint presentations for you. But I would start with GPT-4. The reason I put these up there at the very top is that's the official website for ChatGPT. I'd start there. I'd start learning how to use it. You predicted Apple will bring great AI. Yeah, I was wrong. What they did do was they made it very clear that they've got the silicon to do lots of amazing stuff with AI, and a lot of the underlying technology behind the goggles is powered by generative AI. They just didn't use that term at all. All right, I lost my place here, so let me catch up. You predicted Apple bring great AI. I'm watching for it. Yeah, they didn't bring it today. Did you hear someone hacked in an AI Putin on Russian TV today declaring martial law? No, I didn't hear that. So listen, on a relatively serious note, how far are we out? So probably starting at the end of the summer, but maybe even before that. But after we get past the primaries, once we have some candidates for president, I think the disinformation and the misinformation is gonna be outrageous. I think it's gonna be insane. it's going to be really hard to determine, facts from reality more than it is now. Like I feel like what the last election taught us is that you can just tell people to believe shit and they'll believe it. I think what's going to happen with this new stuff, it's going to be so sophisticated, we literally won't be able to tell, fact from fiction, which I think is going to lead to good things ultimately. 2025, 2026. I think there's going to be a call for authenticity and things like that. But I think we're up for stuff like this, where someone hacked TV and put Putin on there declaring martial law. Now, I did see a TikTok thing today that there was some sort of protest going on in Russia, so maybe it wasn't hacked. Maybe that's disinformation. I don't know. Crazy. I'm disabled, and generative computation gives me a lot of hope to be more creative. Seriously. So here's the thing. I mean, these AI tools are absolutely amplifiers of humanity, or like in my case, I can't draw for shit. I have a good eye. I can design, and not even I can design. I would say I can see good design. I can tell good design from bad design. I'm not a great designer like from scratch, but now all of a sudden I am, and I can be, and all of a sudden I can have an idea for an illustration, and I can get that out there. Things like, translating languages is going to be instant and ubiquitous. You're going to be able to talk to anyone from any country in any language. They just created a Bluetooth bridge for a guy that was disabled in a motorcycle accident 12 years ago, where they used generative AI to look at scans of his brain, had him think about moving his legs, learned what those patterns were, and then sent the signals to an electrode, through Bluetooth around the injured part of his spine, and he's walking again. Apparently it's not, it ain't perfect, but holy crap. So I think that accessibility and allowing people that are disabled to do things they couldn't even have imagined, I think we're about to see that just explode and flourish. And I'm really excited for that. So I'm glad your head's in that space. I think that's coming. What brand is that shirt? I think it's Robert Graham. It's pretty swell. My wife is the purveyor of my fine shirt collection. I lost my place. Oh, hey, howdy, partner. What? What are we gonna do to? You're talking about that AI crap? Oh, there's new people here. Hey, how's it going, partners? Listen, my name's Kyle Shannon. I'm Irish. It's an Irish accent. You like it? This is the AI Learning Lab. I love talking about things AI. The URLs here. The top one is the official ChatGPT website. If you're gonna sit in here and listen to me ramble, which I don't know why you would, but you can. Some people seem to enjoy it. Go there. Go to chat.openai.com. That's the official ChatGPT website. I think it's important, if you haven't played with it, that you go play with it and really experience it. It's hard to describe it without just seeing it. If you have questions about AI, pop them in the comments. I do my best to answer everything, and it's annoying to people who are commenting in real time because I'm just slowly going down through the questions, and I talk a lot and wave my hands a lot and make stupid voices. And then Bing.com and Poe.com are just two other things that you can play with that are also ChatGPT, or you have access to it there. And then these bottom two things, prompts.chat will teach you about prompting, and then Futurepedia is just a list of tools for AI. So feel free to do that. All right, I'll do that in front of my screenwriting friend. He's got an unwatchable feature out soon. Oh, yeah. Having written 7 screenplays, had any of them been made? I think 3 of the 7 would have been unwatchable. 2 of the other 4 would have sucked, and I think I've got 2 that are really good. I've got one called Virtue, about a molecular chip that gets implanted in the base of the brain, and it's like a Manchurian Candidate thing where they put the chip in cops' brains, and then someone controls their body, and they experience someone else like having sex, but their body's out killing someone. So that's a good one. And another one called Fight Game, about racism and boxing and stuff like that. So yeah, Buck Wild. Oh, film writer Buck Wild. What brand is your shirt? We got that. Robert Graham. I think that's right. Whatever. I think it is. Where do you suggest novices begin learning AI? Right here. In this fancy Photoshop document. That's an image I created in Stable Diffusion of my face with a giant eyeball in front of it. See? That's my chin with a little beard on it. And I'm looking frowny. And then that's an eye that's not my eye, but it's pretty cool. But the reason I put these things here, this is where I think you should start. I think you should start with ChatGPT. Just start playing with it. Start learning what it can do. Get curious about this stuff because it's amazing. It's amazing. It's amazing. It's amazing. We're all singing and dancing. And I see Jenny. And I see Clint. And I see Thelonious. And I see Nicholastig. And I don't know why I'm talking like this, but I am. All right. Sorry, I'm trying to find my place in the little questions. If you have questions about generative AI, pop them down below, and I will answer them. All right. How much does it cost to use it? To use ChatGPT doesn't cost anything. So, but there's some options, and I'm not getting commissions for any of these. So those are not up there. So I get I get commissions. I don't get paid for this. They're up there as a public service announcement. But I'll go. If you don't pay for it, you'll just have access to GPT 3.5, which is still incredibly powerful and it's super super fast. I use 3.5 all the time. If you do pay for ChatGPT, you also get access to GPT-4. Which if you're doing any kind of writing or coding or things like that, like it's the one to have. It's really, really good. You can own copyrights too. Agreed, but so start using, if you're worried about that, just start using Adobe Firefly and generative fill within Photoshop. I think that the Copyright Office is going to come around, especially with generative fill in Photoshop, because what they're kind of assuming, I think one of the mistakes being made with this generative image stuff is they assume that it's like what I'll often hear is the AI made that image. No, a person had an idea for an image and they put it in there and they maybe created 100 versions of that and then they chose this one to publish. Like there is an active creation happening there, even though the tool is creating it. But there's a couple of things going on with Adobe. They trained their image set on public domain and Adobe stock images, so they own all the rights to the underlying thing. So your chances of being sued for copyright infringement are at least better. So it's safe to use commercially. If you want to actually copyright the work that you created, I would keep track of the work you did to create it. So if you use generative fill and you start with a core image and then you extend it and you use generative fill to, if the bulk of the image is AI generated, but you start with something, a photo you took or something like that, if you can make a case to the Copyright Office that there's human participation in the creation of that, there might be something there. So all that copyright stuff is going to be a mess for 20 or 30 years, but I think they'll come around. They came around with photography, and it's really no different. Hello, Emilio's wife. I'm back. Yeah, I reset my router. So although now it's not too many folks are here, so we lost a bunch of people, but what are you going to do? All right, what's the latest big news that's in AI? Latest as in 2 weeks. Oh my God, 2 weeks. There's way too much news there. So, and Twitter.com/everyday AI news. And so at Everyday AI News, that's the Twitter site for my newsletter. And then the newsletter itself is at Beehive, everydayai.beehive.com. And we do a weekly newsletter that rounds up what happened in the week and things like that. So we haven't gotten ours out this week yet, but last week it was about Microsoft Windows, including Copilot and scientists being able to reconstruct video from brain waves, which is just nuts. And Google Bard now does images, and Google introduces AI generated ads, which is mind blowing. And then Adobe's generative fill. So the newsletter, covers a lot of the stuff that's there. So hopefully that will help. It will help you get your head around it, because it's impossible. I make that newsletter with my friend Greg, and I can't keep up with this stuff at all. What actually? Wait, buffering again. God damn it! My internet is just. Anyone want to do a class action lawsuit with Xfinity? Oh, he's gone again. Damn it! Lagging. KyleBot fail. GPT-5 sucks. All right. Tap the screen if I'm good. No. Oh. All right, here come the hearts. Okay, I'm good. I'm back. Yay. I don't know if you saw is this not cheating? I'll get back to that in a second. It's not cheating, in my opinion. Okay, you're back. Interesting. Okay. Who's actually leading the AI revolution, OpenAI or Google? Well, that's a great question. Okay. Google invented this thing called the transformer. They put out a paper in 2017 called Attention is All You Need, and they introduced the concept of a transformer. And the transformer is the thing that is the foundation of all this groovy shit we're playing with today. It's the foundation of ChatGPT. It's the foundation of Midjourney. It's the foundation of Stable Diffusion. It's the foundation of all the stuff that Meta was doing. But what happened was Google invents this thing called the transformer. I think they start doing a fair amount of work in AI, in generative AI. And what they probably, this is supposition on my part, but this seems to be consensus. What they realized is that if they put something like ChatGPT into the world, it fundamentally threatens their search business. So they kind of kept it back. Meanwhile, the developer community and OpenAI took this idea of the transformer and they fucking ran with it. And OpenAI in particular said, listen, what we're finding is that the more data and more compute power we toss at this thing, the better it gets. So let's raise as much money as we can. That's why they flipped from a nonprofit to a for-profit company. And they got Microsoft involved. So Microsoft invested $1 billion, and then like a month and a half later said, no, we're investing $10 billion. I think a lot of that is in compute credits, right? So Microsoft has these big supercomputers, and OpenAI is using them to train all these models. So a lot of companies have been doing research in AI for a long time. So AI and machine learning has been around for a while. GPT-3 came out in 2020, I think, in mid or late 2020. And it was the first one that started to be a hint of this thing's really interesting. And then in November of 2022, OpenAI releases ChatGPT, which is a simple little app sitting on top of the foundational model, GPT-3. Or initially GPT-3, now it's GPT-4. ChatGPT went from 0 to 100 million users in 6 weeks. The World Wide Web took 6 years to get to 100 million users. ChatGPT did it in 6 weeks. It was the fastest adoption of software in history. So when that happened, every other company on the planet lost their fucking minds. Like all the investors started investing in AI. Google had what they called a red alert. That happened back in December. The red alert was, or red flag or something like that. Basically like, we're screwed. Because not only did this thing come out, it came out and 100 million people are using it. And so now Google has said, no, we do AI too. We invented this shit. Here's all of our tools. They're very behind. Bard right now is not even close to ChatGPT. But they're Google and they have more money than a lot of people out there. So and they have a lot of engineers. So they're going to develop some cool shit along the way, but they are absolutely playing catch up to OpenAI right now. Then you've got Meta, who was also behind, but they've been open sourcing stuff and their foundational models actually leaked. And now there's a whole open source community around this stuff. So the open source community is now competing with OpenAI and Google and Meta it's insane right now. So I think OpenAI is clearly the lead dog in this race, but strongly supported by Microsoft, and Microsoft is making a massive bet on this. They're rolling generative AI into all of their products. It's already in GitHub Copilot. They're rolling it into Windows 11. Like, you'll be able to just, with English language, tell Windows to go configure itself for you, and it'll just go do it. They're rolling it into Office 365. They're rolling it into Dynamics. They're rolling it into Azure. AWS has now come out and said they're doing a bunch of AI stuff. So everyone and their brother and cousin are trying to get in this game. But it was driven by that massive adoption in a very short amount of time for what was honestly a really shitty piece of software that Sam Altman himself said was a shitty piece of software. ChatGPT was written in 2 weeks. The documentation for it was in GPT-3's documentation, and no one built it. So Sam Altman said, you've got 2 weeks, go build it and launch it. And they did. Google shut down AI a few years ago now, and now they need to catch up. Yep, that's pretty much it. How long until you think AI will replace your typical data, financial, accounting analysis? As soon as... in ChatGPT, you can make money with ChatGPT. Within ChatGPT, there are 3 modes. If you pay for it and have access to these, there's the default mode. There's browse with Bing, which is basically GPT connected to the internet, and then there's plugins. There's another mode that I don't have access yet to, but it's coming, called Code Interpreter. And the day that Code Interpreter launches wide, data, financial, and accounting analysis changes forever. Like, changes forever. It's insane. So what it does is, like, you've got your little chat window where you normally put in chat. Now there's a little upload button there with Code Interpreter. If you go to YouTube and search for ChatGPT Code Interpreter, you can watch videos on this. And you can just watch these data analysts. You can just watch their faces melt off. Like, you upload like census data, like a big census data spreadsheet. And it uploads and it processes and it goes, okay, what do you want to know? And you go, what's interesting about this data? And it will tell you. And you can say, where are there any anomalies in the data? And it will tell you. And you can say, what are the trends? And it will tell you. And then you can say, make me a 3D scatter chart comparing these 6 trends across, these 2 axes. And it will write the Python code, generate the graphic, and hand it to you. It's a full-on data analyst in a box. I saw one of the examples I watched on a YouTube video. A guy put up U.S. lighthouse data, like where all the lighthouses were in the U.S., and he said, create a dark map of the United States and then plot the location of all the lighthouses in the United States and make them blink. And it created like a dark purple map of the United States with yellow flashing dots all along the coasts. It wrote the Python, generated the map, and handed it to him. Gonna change the game. And the other thing is, when Microsoft rolls this into Office 365, and when Google rolls Bard into their Office suite, Google Sheets and Excel now are going to have this large language model layer on top of them. So you won't have to write Excel formulas anymore. You won't have to do real analysis. You won't have to have perfect data. You can just say, go pull either go clean up the data, so you could clean data automatically, or you don't even need to. You can just give it a bunch of shitty, unclean data and have it go figure out what's in there and just sort it all out. So I think it's going to change everything. It's just... I can't, and I'm not even in that world, but holy crap. If you watch the videos of people using it, it's insane. Thoughts on long-term investments that will benefit from the growth of AI. NVIDIA was a clear one. I wish I'd have jumped on that bandwagon, in their gaming days. So NVIDIA was like, we're good at gaming. Oh, we're good at blockchain. We're good at Bitcoin. Oh, shit, we're really good at AI. We're really good at AI. $1 trillion market cap. NVIDIA is a good one. I think... Listen, this is not investment advice. I have a degree in acting, so don't take any of this. This is just me sort of... Here's what I think's interesting. I think Microsoft is acting like a startup for the first time in decades. I think what they're doing is really impressive. I think Apple is going to be a big player in this space. They're not yet, but I think they're going to be kind of at an operating system level. I think OpenAI is really interesting, though they're not public right now. I think Anthropic's really interesting, though I don't think they're public right now. They might be. Nah, I don't think they are. Anthropic. So if you, about 3 weeks back, there were 4 CEOs went and met with Kamala Harris and Joe Biden at the White House to talk about AI. It was the CEO of Microsoft, the CEO of OpenAI, Sam Altman, the CEO of Google, and the CEO of Anthropic. Who's Anthropic? They're ex-OpenAI employees that built GPT-3, that went off to start their own company. They have a different philosophy about how to train these models, basically. They have a thing called the constitutional learning model, which is really, really interesting. But they're really interesting. And then I don't know who else. Probably lots. I think Stability AI is a fascinating company. They keep open sourcing their models. I have a feeling they're open sourcing their models as a hedge against getting sued by artists and writers for copyright infringement. My gut tells me they're open sourcing stuff in the off chance that they get sued into oblivion that their tech still exists. So I like them a lot, but there's going to be so many lawsuits around these foundational models and how they were trained. AI will take most jobs in coding. It's going to take a lot of jobs in coding. It's going to create a lot of jobs in coding. Things like AI operations, creating, development strategies and things like that. So it's going to take some of the more low-level tactical jobs away. It's going to automate the bullshit. And then it's gonna allow people to be more productive and do better work faster and cheaper. So is it not cheating? Okay, so here's the deal. I don't think it's cheating any more than a calculator is cheating, any more than Photoshop is cheating, any more than a camera is cheating. It's a tool. Now, it is very broad, right? There's image tools, there's word tools, there's going to be video tools, there's going to be music tools, there's going to be all sorts of tools. But it's just a tool. And so I don't think it's cheating. It's a tool that helps us do things faster and better. And it allows us to amplify. But Microsoft has branded this Copilot, right? Their generative tools are branded Copilot. That feels like the right branding to me, and that feels like the right metaphor. You're the pilot, right? You're using these tools. You're saying, I want this tool to write a screenplay for me. And then someone else is going to say, well, I want it to write a business plan for me. Well, the tool is doing the tool thing. It's the human beings that are saying what they want it to write. So while it might write a screenplay more quickly, it's me, the writer, that actually says, oh, that actually sucks. No, let's rewrite that scene. You know what? I'm not going to have AI do that part. I'm going to do this part because I understand comedy, and it can't do comedy. But for just blocking out the outline and getting the core structure of a screenplay done in like an hour instead of 6 months or 2 months, depending on how tortured you are as a writer, if you could knock that out in an hour or two, why would you not use that? You've got the most powerful writing and art generation tools in the history of mankind. Do you think people are not going to use them? It's not cheating. It's just a new tool, and it's one we're not familiar with, so it feels like cheating. But so did the tractor, back in the farming timey days, when you just had horses and men and ladies out in the field with hoes. And along comes someone on the tractor. That felt like cheating. And what happened to all those people that got displaced? They moved to cities and created entirely new economies. So same thing's going to happen here. When are we going to be able to have conversations? When are we going to be able to have conversations? Or winery? I don't know what you're saying there. You get paid. Wait, you get paid. Don't lie. You're controlled opposition under the orders of the owl. Yeah, I'm a Bilderberg guy. I'm GPT-5. Sponsored by the Bilderberg Organization. Cheers. I would take that money. Hey, we notice you have a TikTok account there and you talk about AI. We want to talk to you. Just hop in this private jet. Let's have a conversation. That'd be kind of fun. It'd be like being in a movie. Am I frozen again? Lagging. Kyle bot fail. Oh, he's gone again. AI killed him. Oh, I saw these before. Put more money in the meter, Kyle. Yeah, I give Xfinity a lot of money. It should not suck this bad. Lost you mid-answer and it's still loading. Am I back? Yeah, he's back. Okay, I'm back. All right. Oh, damn it. It just jumped me down again. Just you, friggum, rockum, suckum, you son of a bitch. All right. Always check the data. Yes. ChatGPT will confidently lie to you. So do not believe what it tells you. If you're writing a poem, it doesn't matter. If you're writing a legal brief, it does matter. Did you hear about that lawyer? Wrote a legal brief with ChatGPT? Didn't check his work? Handed it to a judge? The judge said, "This is interesting. What are these citations that you have here? They don't seem to point to anything. They seem to be made up." They were made up by ChatGPT, and he didn't check his work. What's that website again? I don't know. Which one was I looking at? Everyday AI. That's Beehive. Beehiiv. I don't know what I was looking at. Sorry about that. This is the problem with me being behind on my questions. I'm game. You're good. It's fine. Good. Okay, it looks like I'm back. Hate Xfinity. Let's get you a Starlink. Starlinks, I've got one of my employees has Starlink. She lives on a farm down in Durango, Colorado. And in every meeting, she drops about twice an hour. And I think it's when the satellites hand off to one another. So it's good when it's good, but it drops a lot. Are you in the AI exchange group? I'm not, but I'm a big fan of Rachel Wood's. So I've got a community called the AI Salon, and I've got a newsletter called Everyday AI. And Rachel does the AI exchange. I'm not in that group, but I probably should be. But my problem is I've just got too much crap going on myself. So the AI Salon has a Discord as well. So I'm generally monitoring that. So I just don't have time for other communities right now. Upgrade your internet. I'm on the top Xfinity internet, so I need to upgrade the company. Ray Kurzweil might say implanted AI may mean on-demand geniuses. Listen, I mean, I did one of the videos I did in my TikTok is called Knowledge on Demand. I think we are at an inflection point where we're moving from the internet provided information on demand, but it was still up to us to learn it. ChatGPT has basically learned all of the internet, so you've got knowledge on demand. Like the big epiphany that I had about ChatGPT was in 90 minutes, I wrote a very sophisticated Python application that worked, and I've never written a line of Python in my life, and I still haven't. And the level of knowledge that's literally at your fingertips is there. So what Elon Musk is talking about with Neuralink, with the electrodes, going straight into your brain, is sort of an instant connection to this knowledge. So what Musk is saying is that if you can take the latency, the distance between when you ask for something and when you get the response, if you can reduce that latency to effectively zero, you are a genius, right? If you've got access to all of the knowledge and there's no latency between when you want to know about the intimate details of the Mesopotamian War and they're just there like that, yeah. Or you want to know how to do, some kind of trigonometry to crazy ass mathematics, something for some quantum mechanics problem that you're trying to solve on your weekend away. Yeah. I don't think I think that is within a visible future. Can AI twerk? Oh, that's good. I've made jokes on here about this is a no twerking channel because I don't think it would be good for anyone. Who's going to win the AI race? Jesus, I don't know. I don't know. There's going to be three of them. There's always three. There's always like three logos, you know? It's like, you know, Facebook and Twitter and Google. And back in the day, it was AOL and Prodigy and this, and then it was Netscape and Mozilla and I don't know, whatever the hell they were, right? So there was always three, so there'll be three. I wouldn't bet against OpenAI. It's going to be really interesting to see if Google corkscrews this into the ground because they're facing competition for the first time, and they really haven't had any competitors for a decade. That's rough. If all of a sudden you've got, you know, instant competition and your competition is Microsoft powered by OpenAI, it's going to be interesting to see what Microsoft does. It's going to be interesting to see what Apple does. I don't think AWS will be a big player, but they have a lot of money and they have a lot of talent. Meta, I don't know. Meta's interesting, and then you know, and then startups, companies like Anthropic. There's going to be companies like that, and Midjourney, and I don't know. It's a really interesting question. Where do I buy stock? The New York Stock Exchange and Nasdaq. I don't know shit about buying stock. Buy stocks online. TD Ameritrade. There you go. What are some jobs that will be in demand that didn't exist 2 years ago because of AI? I don't know what they will be. I think one of them will be something around AI operations. So think like IT, but AI specific. Like, what tools do you glue together to allow a company to do shit, right? There's going to be demand for people that can do that. People that just know about this stuff. I think the people that are going to be the most in demand are the ones that are really good at critical thinking and strategy. Oddly enough. I think of it like this. Right now, we have an economy that is largely a virtuoso economy, right? You kind of learn a single task, and you learn to do that well. So I'm an illustrator, I'm a copywriter, I'm a programmer, I'm a this, I'm a that, I'm a that. If you've got tools that automate the executional level of those individual disciplines, then what you need is like a creative director type or a strategist or a consultant, someone that can look across the disciplines and say, what are we trying to accomplish? Who are we doing this for? What does success look like? So I think those jobs are going to be really in demand. Like AI literate horizontal thinkers. I've been calling it revenge of the liberal arts major. You know? I think people that can think horizontally and think critically are and understand which AI tools to wield, you know, that are good at conducting the symphony of AI tools. I think they're going to be in great demand. Always check the data. Yes. Problems using browsing feature in GPT-4. Lots of failed links. Have you seen the same? Yeah. So all of these tools right now are built on spit and duct tape. They're all very, very new. Like all the autonomous agents like AutoGPT and Baby AGI and whatever there's another one out there. They're all very, very just fragile new pieces of technology. So is GPT-4. The plugins are a mess. The interface for the plugins is even worse. Like it took me, I don't know, a month to just get my head around, wait, how do they work? Because it's like GPT-4 already does a lot, and then you connect it to the internet, and then it does more. And now you have plugins, which are basically just specialized connections to the internet, but to other sort of application cloud layers. It's everything is so complicated right now because everyone's trying to figure everything out, right? And so OpenAI says we have a plugin architecture, and they actually made it really easy to make plugins. And so everyone and their brother are out making these plugins, and they're just, you know, there's like, you know, dozens show up each day, and a lot of them are just crap. And so, yeah, so I've seen the performance in GPT-4 for the past 3 weeks has been pretty bad. It hasn't been as bad as Xfinity Internet. If anyone from Xfinity is listening, it's already in Google Sheets. Yeah, there's GPT plugins for Google Sheets, but it's not in a fully integrated way. Like, it's not in a way where you could say, be in a Google Doc and say, write me a presentation out of this document, or, pull all the data out of this document and throw it in a Google Sheet. It's not there yet. How to make ChatGPT free itself. ChatGPT is free. Go there. It's free. And if you want GPT-4, go to the next one down. Bing.com is GPT-4, and it's free. I want it for making code. Go to GitHub and use GitHub Copilot. That's a specialized GPT just for coding. Or go to GPT-4 and use it for coding. It's really good at coding. I predicted AI hardware 20 years ago. Yeah, so listen, the hardware and neural nets and all that stuff, like all the development, one of the justifiable criticisms of people like me who've been playing around with AI for a year is that, hey, asshole, this stuff's been around for 3 decades or 4 decades or 5 decades, depending on when you define the beginning of it. The inflection point that I think we're at is that you don't have to be a data scientist or a researcher to use this stuff anymore. ChatGPT flipped the switch, just like the World Wide Web flipped the switch, where AI isn't just relegated to researchers and scientists. It now is available for the rest of us, just like the World Wide Web did. And so that's the shift, and that's why, what I would say my expertise is looking at the patterns and looking at, well, what does this all mean, and how do we apply that to business, and how can I use that to write a screenplay or re-architect my video business, which, like, I'm in the middle of doing that right now. So we're in a different phase. Like, we've entered a different phase. So yeah. So my friend told me about AI. Is also excited about everything changing. Yeah, I know, Emilio's wife. It's what's funny about this AI stuff is the deeper you get into it, the more clear it becomes that there's just almost no profession that isn't going to be impacted. They might be impacted at different times. Like, things like healthcare are going to go slower because people's lives are at risk. Throwing a large language model on top of, the complexity of in a cockpit, flying planes, that's probably not going to happen anytime soon. Because, people's lives are at stake. But I think it's going to affect everyone. Apple just launched things today. Yeah, they did. What's Apple doing with AI? So I mentioned this before. Today, I was hoping they were going to announce something more explicitly about AI. They didn't. It was really about their goggles today. But they mentioned 5 or 6 times. They didn't use the word AI. They used machine learning, and they used transformer. This machine learning and transformer engine kind of stuff. So they indicated very, very clearly that their hardware does AI stuff really, really good, without saying it. So it was a very subtle kind of hint. So I think probably within a year or two, we'll see them make some explicit announcements. But today was really about the goggles. But a lot of the stuff the goggles are doing is full on leveraging, machine learning, neural net, technology within the hardware itself. So they're doing a lot with AI. They're just not doing a lot explicitly with generative AI, all the stuff we're talking about here. What major tech companies do you think will fall behind in the AI race? Google has fallen behind. They seem to have recommitted to it, but they could falter because, see, Microsoft has their whole software business and their cloud business that they can generate revenue from. They don't need to generate it from ads. Google doesn't have as clear a fallback position. So if search engine revenue gets completely disrupted and upended, Google could be at threat. Who else is going to fall behind? I think Meta's falling behind. They're trying to get back. They're trying to dig themselves out of the metaverse hole. The meta hole that they dug themselves. I think AWS will be fine. I think there's going to be a lot of big companies. So it's really interesting. Like in the ad business, one of the big holding companies made an announcement last week that they're going all in on AI. The implications of that are pretty profound because the ad business is based on billable hours. And if you start using tools that obliterate the need to spend lots and lots of hours producing work, you fundamentally change the business model. So I think what you're gonna see a lot of industries where the ones that are going to survive are going to be the ones that have a completely different business model to the core business model of that industry. So I think in every one of those situations, you're going to see big agency holding companies just kind of crumple and wither away because they can't adapt. And you'll see other ones that get aggressive and do it and survive. And then you're going to see lots of scrappy startups that are like AI first that are going to become the big companies of the future. I predicted that there will be an AI dedicated chip. Well, in fact, am I actually reading? Well, I'm reading the comments. I'm reading them from the top down, so I'm not all the way at the bottom. So I'm way behind. And am I reading the answers? No. Am I GPT-5? I wish I were that smart. And I think they would make GPT-5 prettier than me. Although someone said I was prettier than Rosie O'Donnell. Although other people think I look like her. I think there will be AI dedicated chips. Apple, a lot of the stuff that they've got on their silicon, like the metal GPU engines and things like that. I just saw a GitHub project where they're using metal on Apple silicon to mimic NVIDIA GPU stuff. So that's coming. What about Hanson Robotics? I don't know. I think aren't they one of the ones that's got one of the humanoid robots? Let's see. Hanson Robotics. Let's go look together. I think I've seen these guys, if this is the one I'm thinking of. We bring robots to life. Developing meaningful AI. Oh, they're the ones with Sophie. Oh, this is the one that's been on the TV shows a lot. Yeah, I mean, OpenAI just came out with one. Elon Musk's got one. You got Boston Dynamics. You've got these guys. I think humanoid robots are going to be a thing. I mean, as the large language models get stronger and the latency gets smaller, and they figure out the locomotion and the batteries and the all that sort of stuff. Yeah, I think we'll start to see these. Elon Musk feels pretty confident that for every human a robot, that everyone will have their own robot that'll just do shit for them. I don't feel like going to the store. Sally, will you go to the store for me? Yes, Kyle, of course. I'd love to go to the store for you. Would you like organic mangoes or non-organic mangoes? Organic mangoes, Sally. I tell you that every time. Yes, Kyle, you do. My apologies. Right? Isn't that the future we all want? How can I get GPT-4? Okay, so if you're new here, go to these websites. So chat.openai.com, that's the official ChatGPT website. If you pay $20 a month, you get access to GPT-4, but you also get access to GPT-4 connected to the internet and then the ChatGPT plugins. If you don't want to pay the $20 a month, go to the next one down, which is Bing.com. And when you go to Bing.com, click on chat, and that chat is GPT-4 connected to the internet for free. It's a little bit hobbled. It's not as good as GPT-4 at OpenAI's site, but it's still pretty good. And then Poe.com lets you play with multiple models. And the fancier ones you have to pay for, but there's lots you can do on Poe.com for free. So that's how you get to that. Prompt engineering is going to be a thing soon. Prompt engineering is a thing now. It's prompt engineering is really weird. I think there's going to be a huge demand for it in the next year, and then it's going to kind of drift to the background as as these models start prompting themselves. Let me surface of what the future is going to look like. So I'm going to GPT-4, ChatGPT plugins, and I'm going to go find a plugin called Prompt Perfect that I have installed here. Prompt Perfect. So I'm going to turn on Prompt Perfect. And the way this works is I type the word perfect in front of my prompt, perfect, and then I say my prompt. Let's see, create a table of interesting census data. I don't know. That's a really crappy prompt. I don't even know what it means. But because I've written the word perfect in front of it, it's going to now fire off that plugin, which it did. And then, now if we open this up, it took what I wrote and then it rewrote it. It paraphrased it. Please generate a table that presents intriguing and information census statistics. Your table should be well organized and provide a thorough representation of the data. And then now it's just making the data. State, population, median age, median household, high school graduate or higher, bachelorate degree or higher. And then it describes what's there. So this is a plugin that I think is where prompt engineering goes, where the large language models will be programmed in such a way that we can be idiots and it will, what is it? You can't fix stupid. Isn't that how the saying goes? Can't fix stupid. I think these tools are going to fix stupid. Like you'll be able to ask it stupid shit. And it's right now, if you give ChatGPT a stupid prompt, it will give you a stupid answer. If you give it a really clever prompt, it will give you a clever answer. And so I think that's going to drift into the background. But I think the critical thinking and the curation and refinement and strategy of what to ask these tools, I think that gets more and more and more important. That becomes the critical skill, is what do we want these tools to do for us, and being clever at figuring out how to do that. And then the tools will take care of the actual prompt engineering. But for the next year or two, have at it. Learn about prompting. I think it's actually really important to start learning about prompting. Like go to chat.openai.com and start learning this. Prompt are like DLL. I don't quite know what you mean there. What's a DLL? Let me go ask ChatGPT. I know the term, but I can't remember it. What is DLL in programming? I think it's a programming term. Dynamic link library. It's a file format used in programming that contains reusable code. If that's what you're referring to, it's kind of like that. Yeah. I mean, what the prompt is it's like you're asking an intern to do something for you. So you have to give them some context, right? I want you to go research this at the New York Times, and I want you to find this information, and then I want you to put it in a table to do this. So your prompting is really just like talking almost to a human to say, here's the instructions I want you to go do. And then it does it. And then if it does it bad, you're like, yeah, that wasn't good. Do it again, but change this. And so just like give that back and forth with a human, that's kind of what the prompting is like. It's almost like programming with natural language is the best way to think about it. All right. It's not cheating. I have to create prompts to guide it. Yeah, exactly. The intention is from us. The execution is from the tool. How can someone demonstrate their skills in AI to get hired in the industry? Start a TikTok channel. But seriously, start using the tools and start talking about it. Talk about it on LinkedIn. Hey, I know everyone's talking about ChatGPT, but I'm a project manager, and I went into ChatGPT and I asked it to do this, and look at what it did. That's amazing. Start talking about it publicly. Put any relevant experience you have on your LinkedIn profile. Like, just start talking about it. Whining, always whine. I'm not a whiner. I'm not a whiner. I'm not a whiner. I think people will need to start being okay with not working. Wait, with not working hard to accomplish goals. I agree with that. I think that I think there's a very plausible future where we kind of have to learn to be human again. Like reconnect, not be such divisive assholes. Allow the machines to do the repetitive, soul crushing work that we have accepted as a reality that we have to do. If these tools can do the shitty work that frees us up, I think we're going to have to learn how to be relaxed and learn how to be, I don't know, human again. I appreciate your perspective. Thank you very much. Farmers and hoes. Farmers and hoes and farmers and hoes. Farmers and hoes and farmers and hoes. There were hoes as far as the eye could see. I think it's cheating in school unless you cite it. It's a great tool. Can't use it on the LSAT. Yeah, because it does better at the LSAT than 8% of the humans. Some crazy number. GPT-4 just fucking destroyed all those tests. I think it's cheating in school if you use it without thinking. So if you just say, teacher assigned me this, go write the paper, and then you turn that in, then I would consider that cheating. But if you use it as a writing assistant and a research assistant, and rather than your paper being good, it's great. And rather than it taking you 2 weeks to put together, it took you 2 days, then you're just smart. You've learned a new tool. You've learned how to use it well. You haven't just taken the answers at face value. You've edited them. You've curated the best shit out of it. You've organized things in a way that you can defend if your teacher or professor actually asked you about it. You can actually answer it. I'd say you're pretty fucking smart. I'd hire you. I need GPT-4. Go to bing.com or go pay $20 a month to ChatGPT. Chat.openai.com. Good stuff. I'm trying to watch Apple event again, but I'm too interested here. The Apple shit's way more interesting than here. But thank you. I appreciate the kind words. They have ski goggles that have googly eyes in them. And it's only $3,500. I had to learn more about Apple, but there was this guy. He seemed drunk or something. All right. Let's see. Sorry, lost my place in the questions. I'm scrolling now. I'm scrolling. How about AMD? The thing that boggles my mind about NVIDIA, it's like it feels like overnight, like Intel and AMD and even Apple to a degree just became irrelevant with their silicon. I think Apple's like the M2 Ultra chip they announced today is fucking insane. So I think Apple's going to be fine, and they are, they're clearly doing stuff in support of machine learning. So I think they're going to be fine, but they're not selling chips on their own. But it's just baffling to me that NVIDIA is the only player in the game. Like, it feels like all of the other chip manufacturers ceded GPUs to NVIDIA and said, "Fuck it, you go do those. We'll just deal with the CPUs." And so I don't. And apparently it's really fucking expensive to spin up a chip fabrication. So even if you wanted to compete with NVIDIA, I don't think it's an easy. I think it's an uphill battle. So I don't know. I don't know enough about that world, but it's wild. He won't answer. What won't I answer? I tried to answer. Hey, can anybody see his computer? Me? You can see my computer. There's the keys. I don't know. What did something mess up, or did I mess up? I'm trying to find my place in the questions again, so I'm just seeing some random things here. Okay, there's I think it's cheating. Okay. Can AI analyze stock? Yes, and it's going to get much, much better at that. GPT is a new god. I don't know if it's a new god, but it's a really fucking capable intern. If God was a really smart intern, then it might be God. What is exciting you the most in AI right now? Oops. The thing exciting me most in AI right now. I think how nimble Microsoft has behaved, and how clearly they've committed to OpenAI and ChatGPT and integrating this thing and funding it and recognizing that this was a thorn in the side of Google and like taking glee in it. Like, that's really impressive. So I don't know that I'm excited about that, but that's really impressive. I remain kind of slack-jawed and just flabbergasted at the power of GPT-4. So OpenAI. I'm really excited about Anthropic, the Claude models, just because I like philosophically what they're doing with their constitutional learning model. That I'm excited about. I think what Adobe's doing with Firefly and with generative fill. I know a guy that I used to work with at agency.com back in the mid 90s is a really senior guy in the AI group at Adobe, and they're moving fast with this for a big company like that, where something like generative AI is potentially really disruptive to their product. They're moving fast and they're moving smart, so I'm excited about that. I think what they're doing is really exciting. The generative fill feature in Photoshop is insane. And then the other thing that I'm really excited about is the fact that ChatGPT got so popular so quick. It's like the entire development community just pounced on this sector, and the open source projects are spinning off other open source projects, and they're just like innovating week after week after week. There was a paper that came out from a Google employee called "We Have No Moat." And what he was talking about is they have no defensible moat, right? Because they're spending tens of millions of dollars to train up these models, and these open source guys are spending like $100, and they're getting nearly the same performance on an open source model that's much smaller. So the innovations that are happening in the open source world, while they're kind of dangerous and terrifying, shit's moving really fast, and that's really exciting. So there's a lot to be excited about right now. Saw a TikTok from an unemployed copy editor in New York City whose only offer is to train AI to replace writers. Whose only offer is to train AI to replace writers. Yeah, I think if you're in a hyper specialized vertical, like copywriting in particular, when you have a tool that is the most powerful writing tool in the history of mankind, you're gonna need to upskill. And quite frankly, what I would say is this: since you do need to use words intelligently with ChatGPT, prompt engineering, copywriters are in a catbird seat to be able to do that well. But they actually do have to go through the existential crisis of saying, my job might not be the same, and my job might not even exist. But if I learn these tools, a job will exist for me, right? But it might look different. And I think many, many people are going to face that same crisis. So, yeah, that's a really interesting one, Gregory. Where do I subscribe to what? Ask me what you want to subscribe to, and I'll tell you if I know. Yes, reference it. It makes stuff up. So ChatGPT absolutely hallucinates and makes stuff up. It will create fake citations. It will answer you confidently, even if it's wrong. I call it mansplaining as a service. So if you're writing things that are critical, like, say, a legal brief, do your fucking homework and check the citations. Don't be lazy. He won't answer. What won't I answer? All right. What type of business do you have? I am the co-founder and CEO of a company called Storyvine, which is a, thank you for the little heart hat. Storyvine is an automated video storytelling platform. So somebody downloads our app, and the app walks them through a series of prompts for a specific story. We do a lot of work in healthcare and pharma, so it might be a patient for Pfizer talking about their disease journey, and our app guides that patient how to tell their story, and then those clips go up to the cloud. 5 minutes later, you got a fully edited video. So that's what my business is, and I'm completely rethinking it and re-architecting it in the face of generative AI, because there's big pieces of what our value proposition right now, the value of them is going to go to zero, and there's other pieces of what we do where the value is going to increase. But when is that going to happen? I don't know. And what does it actually look like to re-architect the business based on those hypotheses? I don't know. It's fucking terrifying. Rachel is solid too. She is. Another guy I like on TikTok is Mackenzie Bose, the guy from GPT Boss. He's really good. What's your best AI recommended tool? The ones I have on screen are really the ones. If you want to do images, it's Midjourney. But the image thing is just kind of a whole different thing, as is music, as is animation and film and all that sort of stuff. I think the foundation of this right now is learn ChatGPT. Just learn that shit. Just learn it. Learn what it can do. It can do so much more than you think it can. It is so much more than a search engine. It is so much more. It looks like we've got some new people here. I'm Kyle Shannon. This is the AI Learning Lab. I just ramble on incoherently about this shit that I'm passionate about. Talk a lot about ChatGPT, other tools out there. If you have questions, pop them in the comments and I'll do my best to answer them. Although I was accused just a moment ago of not answering something. So I'll do what I can. You are using learned loosely here, though, right? I don't know. I don't know when I used learned or in what context. So if you tell me more about that, then I'll try to clarify. What's the learn end date of ChatGPT? September 2021. When might they update? I don't know. So there's kind of 4 layers. So by the time we're using ChatGPT, there's 4 trainings that have happened. The very base training, the core training, is the one that's really expensive. It's the one that takes like thousands of GPUs and years, and they have to like tag all of the internet and I don't know, whatever the fuck they did. Like there's all this work that goes into it, and that's for the core model. So that's really slow and really expensive, and that's the thing where the date stops at September 2021. And then the kind of 3 layers above it are kind of 3 layers of fine-tuning. And the final one is kind of human beings going, yeah, that's a good answer. No, that's a bad answer. Yeah, that's a good answer, right? You know, that they call it human reinforcement learning. So that's kind of the last layer of fine-tuning. The GPT-4 that's connected to the internet. So if you go to ChatGPT and you go to GPT-4, oops, what did I do? What did I do? Why is GPT-4, there's browse with Bing. So what this is you're taking that base model where the knowledge stops at September 2021, and now you're connecting it to the internet. So with browse with Bing, which is browse the internet basically, I can now say, when do the Nuggets play next? And it wouldn't know this if it wasn't connected to the internet. If I do this with the non-internet connected one, it won't have an answer to that. It'll go, I'm a large language model, and my data stops at September 2021, and I'm annoying. But this says they'll play the Miami Heat Wednesday, June 7th at 8:30 p.m. Eastern time, right? So that's a kind of hedge. As to when they're going to update it, I assume GPT-5, they're probably training it right now, and I assume there's some sort of cutoff date that GPT-5 is being trained on that is later than September 2021, but will probably also have a cutoff. Because until we can get to the point that we have powerful, networks and storage and computers that you could essentially, embed all the new stuff that's happened on the internet on a daily basis, you're not going to have real time training. I don't know if that's a good explanation, but that's an explanation. What do I think about the pupil detection stuff on the goggles today? I think they are, well, I would say this. If there's any company on the planet that takes privacy seriously and has some level of credibility to give my biometric data to, it's Apple, right? They have enough silicon in the goggles, right? They have an M2 chip in there, and they have this R2 chip, which does all the sensor analysis. So all of that analysis, all the AI analysis in those goggles is being done locally in the headset itself. They're not sending anything out over the cloud. They also take their privacy really fucking seriously at Apple, and they fight the government and say, no, you can't have a backdoor into this device. They're really good at that. They have a good reputation for it. They take it seriously. It sounds fucking amazing, right? Like what they were talking about was, I think it was 12 times. Was it 12 times a second? No, it had to be faster. It was some crazy amount of time where it's kind of analyzing in real time, like changes in your pupil and things like that. And it's looking at where you're looking. So when you look at an icon, it highlights that icon. And the way they talked about it, they're going to use machine learning to improve it over time. So as you look at something and it does this, and you have an emotional reaction to it, like a micro emotional reaction, like, ooh, that's cool. Your pupil does something, and they're going to be able to learn that shit. So if they do something good, they'll learn it and it'll get better. And if they do something bad, it will learn it and they won't do that as much. So I think it's absolutely incredible. I mean, you can argue whether the goggles are going to be successful and whether the demos that they showed were good and whether the approach is right. But the technology that they demoed today is fucking insane. They said it was 9 years in the making. I mean, it looked like software and hardware integration that was 9 years in the making, right? They thought of fucking everything. And like all of the stuff that's really annoying about the other things, they handled. Like you can't see someone's eyes. Oh, well, we can't show real eyes, but what we could do is we could put a screen that takes the feeds from the cameras that are looking at the eyes and projects them onto the inside of the glass of the goggles. Let's do that. Holy shit. Like they thought of fucking everything. I thought they were going to be goggles, and what they presented was a spatial computing paradigm and operating system. Which before today, I had sort of metaverse and, like shitty 3D worlds, and I had like bad augmented reality. And what they successfully did today was they revealed a new paradigm for computing called spatial computing that uses the combination of your eyes and hand gestures without controllers to control the world. Fucking insane. Just, and like, if you're in VR and someone walks up close to you, it dynamically like introduces them into the scene. Like you can see the person and then it like reveals your eyes to them because it sensed that a human being walked up to you. Like, holy shit. It was amazing. Whether or not it succeeds, I don't know, but it's definitely like they did an Apple thing where it's like, that's a new paradigm. That's a completely new paradigm. GPT has knowledge, but its trust model is controlled by mega corporations with multiple agendas. For one thing, I don't think it has a trust model. So it has lots of knowledge. It doesn't have a trust model, or it wouldn't lie so much. And it lies so much because of the nature of how it works. I don't know that... I think that's a very broad statement. Microsoft owns, at the end of their investment, when they get paid back, they'll own 49% of OpenAI. They do not have a controlling interest in it. That could change, but right now they don't have a controlling interest in it. Sam Altman is a guy that he doesn't own any percentage of OpenAI, which I find baffling. But he's also starting some other companies, so he might make some money on licensing or other things. But he seems decently genuine. The other thing going on right now is, if this were just OpenAI and Google, like OpenAI, Microsoft, and Google, as like the pair of giants that were controlling all of AI, I might agree with you that, okay, BlackRock owns, or whoever, like, the big, financial holding companies own them. But there's now a bunch of open source models out there. You've got Meta. You've got, I don't know. There's too many players and too many options right now. I think it's really easy to say something, that cynical and dystopian, but I don't think that's how it's playing out right now. I think ChatGPT fucked up a lot of mega corporations' plans. Let's put it that way. I think this is squeezing out of their fingers in real time right now. What's your best AI recommendation tool? Those. Oh, we got some new people here. Hey there, everybody. If you're new here, my name's Kyle Shannon. This is the AI Learning Lab. I'm a mime. I do bad acting. I've been accused of looking like, A, B, and C list celebrities, some living, some dead. If you're new to generative AI and have questions about it, just pop them in the comments. I'll do my best to answer them. If you've never tried ChatGPT, that's what that URL is right there, chat.openai.com. Go play with it now. Just go do it. And those other two are other options that use ChatGPT as well, but the top one is the official site, and then also these things at the bottom are other resources. And I'm just a smart ass, and I've been doing this for like 2 hours now, so I'm a little parched for one thing. I'm a little thirsty, and I'm a little tired and punchy. So if I sound like an idiot, that might be because I am. Good communication skills and the ability to consume information fast. Not sure what that's in reference to. I thought I was just dumb. So confused. You're not dumb. This is really confusing stuff right now. There's a lot going on. I don't know what I said that was in reference to, but there's a lot going on right now. If you have a specific question, ask it. I'll do my best to answer it. I wouldn't compare it to the World Wide Web shift. Well, I did a whole speech on comparing it to the World Wide Web shift. So here's why. So I personally discovered the World Wide Web in '94. I started one of the first online magazines, and I started one of the first digital agencies, a company called agency.com. I was the chief creative officer there. We grew from 2 to 2,200 people in 5 years. Oh yeah, check that out. We built a lot of the early websites for the Fortune 500. What's happening right now with generative AI feels to me almost identical to what was happening in 94, 95 with the World Wide Web in New York City, where I was at the time. It feels way more profound, and it feels way faster. So I don't know why you wouldn't compare it to what was going on there. I don't know if you were there then. There are very, very similar parallels. And so I'll give you like one of the base ones. The internet had been around for decades, but it was largely used by scientists and librarians and researchers in universities. And then Tim Berners-Lee invents the World Wide Web, and all of a sudden, the power of the internet is made available to real people through this really simple interface, where rather than having to type in command line, you could just click on a link. Dink! Right? It was just as simple as that. Same thing here. Machine learning and neural networks have been around for decades, but they've been largely relegated to scientists and researchers and things like that. ChatGPT comes along, bing, and makes it as simple as a Google search box, which we already know how to use, but you type in what you would have typed in a Google search box, and rather than get back 40 fucking useless links because 39 of them are paid for, you get back an answer. And you get back a remarkably good answer, right? So all of a sudden, you've got access to decades of scientific research in the hands of real people. It's the parallels are there. So anyway, I would be curious to hear why you don't think that's an apt comparison, but the World Wide Web is the biggest technological, sort of jump since the PC, right? And that was the biggest jump since the computer, and that was the biggest jump since the Industrial Revolution, right? So there are these big milestones in technological advancements. For me, it's personal computer, World Wide Web, generative AI. Now, you could argue social media and iPhone are in there, but I see those as minor blips in the bigger tech continuum. But this generative AI shit is huge. It's like Industrial Revolution huge. It's like printing press huge. I think it's bigger than the web. Being optimistic about AI is like being excited about nuclear weapons. Yeah, I'll give you that. I have been accused of being adorably optimistic. I'll take it. AI is just is just as big a shift as the World Wide Web was. Yep, coming from the original Commodore owner, dialed in at 28.8. Oh yeah, I was 14.4. I dialed in at 14.4. I think even less than that. Hey, baby. Can you talk about impact on health insurance companies? I hope it blows them the fuck up. I think that generative AI is going to have. Oh, I'm probably going to get booted for community things for what I just said there, because it went boom boom. But whatever. If I do, that's why. It was metaphorical. It was a joke. I think generative AI is going to make the complex very simple. So one of the tools, if you go to Poe.com, one of the sites that I recommend you going to. So this is Anthropic's Claude model, but it's got 100,000 token context window, which if you haven't been playing around with this stuff, you're like, what the hell are you talking about? What the context window is essentially how many words you can use. So with current ChatGPT, you get 4,000 tokens. It's about 3,000 words. So if you paste in a really long document, it can't really deal with it. It just craps the bed. And if you have a long conversation with it, it kind of forgets the stuff earlier in the conversation because it's only got this 3,000 word window where it can remember shit. The 100,000 tokens is 75,000 words, right? So you could take a full length novel and paste that into a prompt and then say, write me. Rewrite the last chapter so that it sets up a sequel, and it would just rewrite that, right? So if you've got a tool like that where you can take incredibly long documents and just paste them into the chat, well, why couldn't you take your health insurance policy and paste it in there and say, help me come up with a strategy to game the system that is gaming us, right? They make those policies so incredibly complicated and make you jump through so many hoops that because they don't want to pay, right? Like, so that's the whole game. If we make this complicated enough, people will just fucking give up. Well, what if we make a tool that takes all that complexity and fights our fight for us, right? So I think it could have a dramatic impact. Put it on the doctor's side. Doctors right now, why do they have such shitty bedside manner? Because they spend about 60% of their time dealing with health insurance companies trying to get fucking paid, right? What if generative AI tools could fight the fight for them and it would free them up to reconnect with patients and spend more than 10 minutes with them because they have to book that many patients in because they know they're not going to get paid for 40% of them because that's the way the system's designed. I'm a little passionate about this shit because I've got chronically ill people in my family, and the health insurance companies are criminal. This is a criminal operation. So I hope that this stuff blows that industry. Well, sorry, I can't say that. I hope that generative AI is seriously inconvenient for the health insurance companies. I'm going to get booted off here. TikTok's going to kick me. They're going to put me in the corner. I've been kicked off twice now for community guidelines violations. So if I just disappear, you'll know why. All right. Google will rescue itself eventually by buying Anthropic. That's probably not a bad call. Didn't they invest like $300 million in Anthropic? I think someone did. I think that's actually a really interesting possibility. Meta should completely change course. They're trying. They fucking name themselves Meta, which, if they now name themselves generative, it's gonna look bad. Jenner. I think AI will automate radiology. Yeah, it's already done that to a degree. Although what's happening when you have things like lives are on the line with radiology, like there were predictions years ago that radiologists, don't get a radiology degree because it's going to completely automate your job. What it's doing is it's becoming an augmentation to radiologists where it's doing the initial analysis, but the insurance companies are saying, a doctor has to make the final call. So they're doing it kind of as a collaboration. And I think anywhere where you've got lives on the line, it's going to be like that for a while. Who will lead and who's coming up fast? I think Anthropic's coming up fast. Microsoft and OpenAI are leading. I don't think their lead is going to be challenged anytime soon. I don't think anyone's close to them right now. Because Microsoft's doing two things. They're rolling it across their product suite, but they're also being the hardware infrastructure for OpenAI to do whatever the fuck they want. So I think they are a mighty formidable pair right now, and they've also given OpenAI enough of a leash to go out and they can do competitive things with competitors and things like that. So, all right, Tesla. Oh yeah, Tesla could be an interesting one. All right, how about directing ChatGPT to answer the questions here? You could do that, but I'm ChatGPT 5. I'm answering the questions. I need 2 robots. That's what Elon said. He goes, a robot for everyone. You know what? Maybe they need 2. So that's what he thinks the addressable market is of personal robots. Sally, you can jump in my lap. That was an old one. I'm really behind on questions. Sorry about this. I get slow here. Which AI plugin is the best to help write scientific journal articles with real reference? I don't know. I would just go look for journals or science in the plugins now have a search thing. I played with one called, hang on. X Papers. So X Papers goes and searches the archive, where the computer white papers are, but I don't know if that scientific peer-reviewed stuff is there. Maybe it is. It says, find real academic papers on archive. So X Papers might do what you're asking for. I haven't. There are so many plugins coming so fast. It really is impossible to keep up. Like I feel like an idiot. I just feel like a dum-dum. I feel like a dum-dum. All I do all day is talk about AI, and then I feel like a dum-dum. So, I don't know. I wish I could help you better. Will there be highly paid black belt prompt all-stars? Yes, there will. And then they will be replaced by AI that takes shitty prompts and makes them better. But I think for the next year to 2, having high skills in prompting will serve you well. But then it's going to get easier for all of us. Do you think AI will pick up on the inherent bias of self-preservations all humans have? I don't know. It's not self-aware right now. It may behave like it's doing that. Um, I don't know. That's one of the reasons that I'm a fan of Anthropics is they've got this thing called the constitutional learning model that they create a set of rules, and one of those rules could be, make sure humans are not harmed, and then increase prosperity, and and then deal with yourself. And all of the answers are then measured against that constitution, and they'll iterate them until they meet the needs of that constitution. So I think that model, from everything I've seen, has the best chance of creating a model that prevents runaway AI. But I don't know. I do not know. Prompt is an extension. Okay, it's an extension of us, sure. I think I know what you mean. Which AI plugin is the best to help write scientific journals? Have I made any money with AI? I got asked to do a couple of workshops, and they said, "You want $500?" I was like, "Okay." So I made that. So I don't know where I'm going to spend that. It's already spent. I went to the grocery store. You ever been to Costco? You're like, okay, I'll spend like $200. That'll be $478. Like, what the fuck did I just do? It's like every time. How to train an LLM with custom data. There's a thing called LangChain, or you can just wait for Copilot to roll into Office 365 and Bard to roll into the Google Docs stuff, Google Office. Because then you'll be able to do it real easy. But if you want to train large language models on custom data now, look up LangChain, Lang chain. It's like 80 lines of code or less. Like, it's some ridiculously small amount of Python code you need to basically just point one of these models at your big data set and then be able to start searching on it, or GPTing it, or whatever the hell you want to call it. What the hell is going on with my hair? Ask ChatGPT and it will tell you what to make. Yeah, agree. Kyle will get to your question if it's a good one. I try to get to all the questions, even the bad ones. Not a whiner. Thank you, Emilio's wife. I try not to be a whiner. But I do get a little bitter sometimes. I look like you look like young Leo DiCaprio. I'll take it. I look like old, over the hill fat. I look like Leonardo DiCaprio if he never became an actor, and he just hung out at the bar for 3 decades. But thank you, that's very kind. Work smarter, not harder. I agree. Yeah, this stuff is not cheating. This stuff is just super powerful tools, and you're getting to use them before other people are aware of them, which is fun. This technology is going to create dumber generation. I 1,000% disagree. 1,000% disagree. I am more creatively engaged. I am more intellectually engaged than I've been in decades. If you actually use these tools, they are fucking miracles. Like, it was intense enough. Like, what Google figured out was they figured out how to index all of the internet, right? Which was really fucking remarkable. You could just type in something and it would go find somewhere on the internet was some sort of site. And then over the decades, because of SEO and they have a business model, it got kind of perverted, and there's all this sort of fake sites out there, and SEO optimized, just all this bullshit, right? And it got bad. But what this thing's doing is it went and it just learned all of the underlying knowledge without any of the bullshit on top of it. And now you can just say, hey, I want to create a Python program, but I don't know Python. It's like, hey, no problem. I do. Here's the code. Does that work for you? Oh, not quite. I wish it did this. Oh, okay. Here you go. I mean, that's not making me dumber. That's making me like, it's giving me superpowers. And it's allowing me to execute creative concepts and ideas in a shorter amount of time. So in a given week, I can come up with and execute 4 or 5 major ideas. any one of which would have taken me 2 to 3 weeks before, and most of them I wouldn't have pursued because it was just too much of a pain in the ass. 1,000% disagree with you. If you use these tools, I don't think you'd feel that way. Like, I would say to you, go there and start playing. Go to chat.openai.com and start playing. Thoughts on GPT-4 and trading? Start using it. Some paper just came out that one of the bots that someone came up with using AI had like a 500% return. And it's like a peer-reviewed paper, so it's not just some douchebag saying he made a 500% return. But yeah, it's really good at analyzing data and trends and things like that. It's really good at that stuff. ChatGPT passed the bar 98%. I know, it's amazing. This is a very exciting time. I agree. Singularity with AI could ace all the tests and papers. Yes, well, not only is it coming, they just did it. Like GPT-4 just passed all these tests at a ridiculously high level. I gotta go soon. What's my technical background? I have a degree in acting, but I did desktop publishing as my day job. And then in the mid-90s, I started one of the first digital magazines and one of the first digital agencies, a company called agency.com, and grew that company to 2,200 people in 5 years because it was kind of right place, right time with right team. And so learned a lot about technology then. And I was chief creative officer, so I was more worried about, how we're doing what we're doing and what we're doing and than the actual technical execution of it. But I learned a lot. And then I started my company, Storyvine, in May of 2012, and it's an automated video production platform. And it took me, it took a lot of years to figure out, what the technology stack should be, and if it was even possible. And so just in building that over 12 years. So I've been, I would consider myself in the past 15 years more of a product guy than a tech guy. But I would call myself technology adjacent. I'm a fan of technology. I understand it well enough to piss off the engineers. Because I don't know enough to do what they do. And I have ADD, so I can't do what they do. But I do know when they're pulling the fucking wool over my eyes, which is more often than it should be. I worry that with my 11-year-old, but the way you talk about it, I will carry that attitude and make it good. I appreciate that, Molly. Listen. I've got 23-year-old twin boys right now. They're 6, so they're still home. But yeah, I think the appropriate way to feel right now is this is tremendously exciting and this is tremendously terrifying. The only advice I could really offer is I think that the most important thing moving forward is going to be critical thinking. So if you can support your daughter in, did you say your daughter or just your 11-year-old? If you can support your child in, asking good questions and being curious and doing critical thinking and not just, learning things by rote. I think the learning things by rote thing is the thing that's going to go away and is not necessary. But the critical thinking thing and the ability to have a point of view and be creative and be thoughtful and be engaged, like all of that stuff goes up in value. So I appreciate you sharing that. It's the computer from Star Trek. Like I said, I feel like we're entering a post sci-fi world where TV shows and movies we're just now able to start doing shit that we used to think would never be possible. Universities are using AI detecting tools to analyze papers. How are students going to whatever the rest of that was? The bad universities are using AI detection tools. Here's the deal. When GPT-4 is rolled into Microsoft Word and it's rolled into Google Docs and it's rolled into Notion, it's already in Notion, and it's rolled into Slack, and it's rolled into all of the tools that you use to do all that shit, Do you think there's a professor out there or a student out there that's not going to use that tool? They're not going to hit the button, help me write this? So those universities are incredibly short-sighted right now. All right. I'm going to answer 2 more questions, and then I got to go because it's getting late. I just got the little alarm that said, go to bed, you loser. Oh, look, I'm not even paying attention. My little machine went to sleep. There's a lot of people here. I appreciate you hanging out with me. If you're new here, this is the AI Learning Lab. If you have not used ChatGPT, that's what that first URL is, chat.openai.com. Go there right now and do that. I don't get anything from that. That's just the actual ChatGPT website. I think it's really important for people to start playing with this. So go do that. It'll make the planet a better place to live. Oh, Jimmy. Oh, Jimmy. No. You played with the AI? Oh, no, Jimmy. Oh. Don't you think the robots are going to kill us? Oh, Jimmy. Go play with the tool. Okay. I feel like your content should be under the STEM stream. Oh, that's interesting. Okay. I could put it there. I don't know where to put it. I just put it under old idiots. That's the stream I'm in. What other acronyms go with AI? Renaissance. So one of the things that I feel is that we are entering a great renaissance. And I always wondered why there was an I in the word renaissance. RENAISSANCE. So I think we are entering the great renaissance, and that acronym just plops nicely right into that word. That's why that I was in there. I always wondered for decades. Every time I spelled it, I'm like, is that how you spell it? Why is that I in there? Renaissance. They have prompts to get around AI detection. Yeah, all that stuff's short-lived. So, all right. I think I'm at the bottom. This is an awesome channel. Watching you learn and share AI is fascinating. Keep it up, man. I appreciate it. That's a great one to take off on. And Emilio's wife, I'm not here for AI, really here to see all of Kyle's characters. I need to get some more characters. I've got like the dumb Southern guy, and got the effeminate guy, and I've got that one I just did was like the lady from Minnesota. Jimmy. But anyway, I appreciate y'all being here. This is the AI Learning Lab. I am going to go snooze, and I have a lot to do tomorrow. I have a big pitch to a large pharmaceutical company. Let's go make some of that big, big money. All right. Peace out, everybody.